Hey guys, welcome back. It's Josh with the Financial Advisor Car Guy, and this week I want to talk to you about an installation failure. Now, this isn't news to all of you. A couple people I've talked to, I've shared this story with already. I actually reached out to a buddy of mine, Joe, who I've talked about on the channel before, for tips and tricks if he had them. But my project this week was to actually help my neighbor install an automatic or remote start, an auto starter in his Toyota Tacoma. Now it's a 2009, and he went on Amazon and bought a very simple kit, what we thought to be very simple kit. The instructions in the box were very, very clear. This is not I'll call it specialized kit directly for this Tacoma. It was definitely a more generic one size fits all, but it did include some directions as to how to install. So sure enough, we get it all out. I will post a picture right here of what it looks like, all disassembled all over the place. And it's kind of the modulator box. There's a keyless entry module that you splice into your door locks, and then all the wiring components that go with it. And then there's also like a programming switch and a test light and all these different things so that when you get it installed, you can then calibrate it to your vehicle. Again, it said it was for a Toyota Tacoma, but it was definitely not a plug and play application like a lot of these are out there now. Side note, my buddy also bought this remote start kit a year or more ago. This was something we talked about last winter and never got installed. And a couple times throughout the summer, I'd see him in the neighborhood and oh yeah, we got to get that installed. I was more than happy to help him. And so anyway, I saw him last week and said, John is his name, John, we got to get together. We got to do this remote starter, man. It's like the weather's been strangely warm and nice. Let's take advantage of one of these Saturdays or Sundays and get it done. So sure enough, this weekend he was free. And so we're texting on Saturday. He had some stuff he needed to get done in the morning, but by the time we connected in the afternoon, he's like, you know what, Josh, let's just do it. Let's just do it on Sunday. And that's fine. I've got a TV out here. We turned on a football game. He pulled his truck right into the garage. And we get to work. So again, we lay everything out. We start plugging in the harnesses, which was what the instructions encouraged us to do. Make sure nothing is missing, make sure all the colors are correct, all the wires are correct. So we did, laid it all out right here on my little table and had it all ready to go. So then I start reading through the instructions and it's like, okay, now what you need to do is go into the cab of the truck, remove the lower portion of the dash under the steering column and all that. You've got to remove the kick panels. You've got to remove the door trim. And then there's a few other spots that we needed to uncover eventually. So I start removing these panels. And I can see, like, John doesn't work on his car very often, right? He's a little bit nervous. And a couple times he's like, Josh, if this is more than you want to tackle, like, we don't have to do this today. We can find another time where we have more time maybe, or I'm happy to pay somebody. We can go to a stereo shop or something where they do this for a living, right? He knows I don't do this for a living. He knows this isn't my day job. And I'm like, you know what, John, I'm happy. Let's explore this. Like, we're already here. We've already got most of this thing exposed. Everything is laying out. Like, if I can just follow the directions, I think we can do this. So he's like, all right, whatever, you're fine, yeah. So we keep going, right? I'm taking out more panels. I'm locating in the directions. It does show like this pink wire connects to this green wire or whatever it is. And it's all color coded and everything. And it even had a little, I guess, diagram, but it was like a picture of the dash from what would be like the back seat, right? Like you get a whole picture, a panoramic almost view of the dashboard. And what it did was it put little markers. It was like, right, here's the ignition. Like, here's the fuse box. Here's this. There was like 6 different connecting points. And then it was actually really helpful. There were literal red lines from like that dot on the dashboard to the corresponding wires in the harness that we had already connected and set up. So I could see that, okay, this fuse box is right here, right? I'm looking for this 12-pin connector. and it splices into the green wire with the white line on it or whatever, right? And so I'm like, John, we got this. I think we got this, right? So we're digging in a little further, a little further, a little further. Finally, everything's dialed. I'm ready to like literally splice in the first wire. And John's looking at the instruction manual, whatever, and it says we have to splice into the immobilizer system. And he's like, Josh, a little concerned here. I can't have my truck be inoperable. Like, this is my daily driver. I got to get to work. I got to do all these things. Like, and we'd already, I should preface that part, right? We've already been out in the garage for like an hour, hour and a half, just kind of stalling, I guess I would say. But I was really kind of getting into it, really trying to discover and explore and figure out where it needs to go. And, you know, there's like a little auto antenna. And I'm like, John, we could put it here under the hood. And, you know, there's a space on the firewall here where we can mount the box. And I'm giving him all these tips and ideas and things like that. And in the meantime, I'm texting my buddy Joe, and I'm like, Joe, have you ever done one of these? Because I might be in over my head, man. This is like a lot. And the immobilizer was concerning me too. Now, I will say with full transparency, right? It wasn't my truck. If it was my truck, if it was my Mustang, in fact, I told him this, I literally used these words. I was like, John, if we were doing this in my Mustang, and I knew it's not my daily driver, I knew I could take my time, double check all my wiring, make sure, you know, I'm not messing anything up, I'm not missing something, I'm not, you know, whatever. Mustang doesn't have a computer in it, so you like hook it up to power and you're good to go, right? It's like hot wiring this thing is essentially what a remote starter would do for my 68 Mustang. John's truck, right? Power everything, immobilizer system, alarm system, keyless entry already existing. All these components we had to like hack into, splice into, and we were both just real concerned about it. So I kind of let my guard down a little bit, and I'm like, John, you know, maybe we don't do it. I really feel terrible because I told you we could. I encouraged you to buy this thing and said, let's get together and do it. He has seen my truck started in the morning. You know, he drives down the alley and he'll see my truck, nobody in it, and he sees it running, getting all nice and warm and all the things. That's all he wanted. And so I'm trying to help this guy out. But ultimately, I think we made the right decision. After further Googling and really just exploring online, there are tons of kits for really not too much money more that are completely plug and play. No splicing. Maybe you unhook a harness, plug a different harness in, and then plug what you unplugged back in. You know what I mean? Like, it's like inline wiring and stuff. There's other things out there. There also is a car stereo shop here in town, which I was talking to another buddy about. And he goes, oh yeah, I know 2 people that have gotten those installed this year, this winter, for $500 or less, locally, you know, in a day or whatever it is. And that's not terrible, because this particular unit, John paid like $160 or $180 for it. So 500 installed includes the kit and everything. Probably just the peace of mind of having somebody who does this for a living do it. It makes a lot of sense to me. So that's where we ended. So we watched 2/3 of a football game, laid out all these parts, had a great conversation about it. I learned how a Tacoma's dash clicks together and all that. So that was really, you know, time well spent. But at the end of the day, we put it all back together and he drove away. He was perfectly happy. I mean, I think he's probably disappointed. I was disappointed. Like I said, I told him we could do it and we could not. So I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. He may return it, or he may try to sell it, or find somebody else who can do it. Maybe he can take it to the audio shop. Maybe they'll install it for a couple $100. You know, he's providing the unit, so maybe they'll just do it. So if I ever get an update on that, maybe I share that here. If not, you know, it's not the end of the world, but I guess it's a cautionary tale to explain that, you know, I'm not a mechanical wizard. I know how to bolt things together and screw things and fix things, you know, simple things, but getting into splicing into the immobilizer and the ignition and the power door lock system, and it was intense, you know. And I feel like if we had hours and hours and hours And there was no, yeah, I mean, I think time was really the matter, because I felt like the moment I spliced that first wire in, it's do or die. Got to finish it, right? I can't leave his truck, partially, I don't want to say disassembled, but partially disassembled here in the garage. Couldn't do that. I couldn't do that to him. I couldn't do that to my wife. We needed to get it done. So by him kind of stopping me before we cut that first wire or spliced into that first harness, I think saved us both probably some headache and heartache and concern. So I don't know what he's going to do. Like I said, he's got an idea. I think he still wants it, but in his truck, it wasn't as straightforward as like if it were in my Mustang. Because like I said, not my daily driver. I could take a month. I could do one wire a night for a month and then spend an hour and a half or 2 hours calibrating it, and it would be fine. That would be a great winter project, in fact. I wouldn't be in a rush. But for a daily driver that he wanted to be able to drive home, let alone like to work the next morning, yeah. So that's all I got for you guys this week. It was my story of failure, and I gotta be honest, I don't have too many of those. Occasionally there's disappointment, but this week we just threw in the towel. We did not even attempt to cut a single wire. We did not even attempt to splice anything in. We just let it go. We put it all back in the box, put it on his passenger seat, and away he drove. I don't know what he's gonna do next, but like I said, if we figure it out, we'll circle back around. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and most importantly, remember, may every investment you make be a good one. Till next time.